Would you speak to the phrase dying before the body dies?
Oh, okay, yes, dying before the body dies. So there is the relative death and there is the absolute death. The relative death is the death of the body. The absolute death is the death of ignorance, the ending of the impression of separation, the belief and the feeling that I am a body mind, that I am a person. So the death before dying refers to the absolute death before the relative death. In fact, there is no before or after. All that is illusion. There is just the eternity of the self, the transparency of being, which never comes and goes, which has no cause, which has no destination, which has no destiny. It is self-sufficient upon itself and onto itself. Having said that, in the dream, there is the unhappy identity, the unhappy belief that I am born and therefore that I must die. So the thorn of mortality haunts us throughout our life. And we are seeking to find the causeless peace and happiness that goes beyond that belief, beyond that feeling. We seek it everywhere. And body-mind is on a time clock. In our contemplation, we get insights into our true nature. The insights that reveal to us that we are not the effect of any cause, that we are that which has no precedent, that we are the absolute self. In a way that is sort of a death before the death of the body, before the relative death, but it's still not the absolute death, because although we may have this glimpse into the transparency and the universality of being, the impersonal self, we still have a journey ahead of us to eliminate the feeling within our body and the various reactions within our body, the various contractions within our body that still maintain the old paradigm, that maintain the unhappiness within our experience. And so there is the Vasanic process, the journey of surrender, of non-action, contemplation of the teaching, the reflection and the meditation upon the teaching, resting as being, that result in the ending, in the death of the separate self-impression. So the Vasanic process, the journey after the initial glimpse, when we are fortunate to be conducting our inquiry correctly, will lead us to a thinner and thinner and thinner impression of separation. The belief in being a man or a woman weakens, thins out, and the reality and the transparency of awareness, of presence, of consciousness sort of comes to the forefront, becomes more so our experience. And the thinning process, goes on until one could say that the unhappiness no longer arises. In fact, yes, I would say until the unhappiness no longer arises, the separate self is no longer your experience. So that would be the death that precedes, the absolute death that precedes the relative death. In the spiritual inquiry, there are many people who mistake the glimpse, the initial glimpse or the initial glimpses, especially the big ones, into the separate self shell and reveal the glory of the universal self. Many mistake that to be the death, the absolute death, meaning the death of the separate self, while in fact it is not. And it is really important to understand that the absolute death, meaning the death of the separate self, has to be unequivocal. And the way you know it is unequivocal is when you are no longer suffering, irrespective of what is happening in the waking dream, what is happening at the world, body, mind level. All is well. And for the people at large, I would say be watchful not to stop halfway along your journey, because you just delay your happiness.